When we align ourselves to these resonance, such as fear, such as revenge, such as victimhood, such as pain and struggle, such as, apathy, passivity, such as pride, we are aligning ourselves to darkness. People don't want to hear this, but the reason why this is dark is because it drains us of our energy and distracts us from doing what? Doing the things that would bring more light, right? Healthier diet, healthier emotions, healthier relationships, healthier approach to life. Welcome to our weekly energy talk here on Skype Live. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm an energy healer, energy therapist, and visionary. And once a week we come together to talk about what we call collective energies. Yeah, these things that we pick up on that are difficult to put words to and that are still difficult for us to talk to with other people. So we found together here from all over the world. Yeah, I see Canada, I see Australia, I see South Africa, I see Portugal. I happen to know where you guys are from. Yeah, so we are forming a network, a grid all around this planet. And who are we? We are normal people perhaps who call themselves energetically sensitive, who call themselves empaths. Maybe you guys are healers, you are light workers, you are supporters. Yeah, people who pick up on, what we would probably call as something like a more divine or more collective consciousness. Yes. And today I want to talk to you about the spirit that we align ourselves to. This sounds quite ominous, but really what I'm referring to, and this is actually a quote from one of my favorite authors. Many of you know I went to school in Germany. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, in his famous book and play, Faust, Dr. Faustus, in that Mephistopheles, the personification of Lucifer, says, I am the spirit that wills the bad and always causes the good. So there's something very, very deep about this. This is something that came up here at transCODES, working these collective energies in our daily, weekly sessions. But really, what this is all about, and this is in the play. If you want to read up on this, go check the internet. There's obviously English translations. Goethe is one of the big sort of humanistic authors. It's about aligning ourselves to what we comprehend. So Lucifer goes on to explain himself as the force that tries to tempt us, and yet in its work, in working or causing or tempting the shadow in us, basically illuminates us into better understanding what it is that we're aligning ourselves to, what it is that we are choosing to align to. So that is part of the deeper meaning of the light bringer, illumination. So this is a word that you will hear a lot here in these coming weeks, regardless of the things that are going on in the world with, war and the afterbirth of the COVID pandemic and totalitarian government takeover, basically. We are looking at the deeper aspects of this. We are looking at what this actually is that we are in the middle of experiencing. And those of us who are energetically sensitives, and I really need to say this to you in this direct way, you have been having 20, 30 years of practice, in picking up on things that you may not be able to talk to other people, because you don't want to be called a conspiracy theorist, but that you feel as truthful from within yourself. These years of practice that you guys have had, yeah, to figure out and to discern what feels true to you and what doesn't. Other people, yeah, majority of people, like say 85% of people out there, did not have this time. So when we talk about illumination, when we talk about basically the confrontation with the untruth, or the confrontation with unfreedom and lovelessness, as I've called this in the past, what we are talking about is indeed the confrontation with dark, the dark in us. Yeah, the part in us that wants an easy way out, that wants the shortcut, that wants pleasure, that wants comfort, that holds on to the old white knuckle just so we don't have to go through change. That's a part in all of us. That's the so-called shadow part in us. Carl Jung was the researcher, the scientist, the psychologist that brought this to light for us in conjunction or, based on Sigmund Freud's teachings like 100 years ago. All right, so there is an aspect in us that we experience as our dark side or as our shadow side. And don't mind me using words Lucifer and stuff like this. This isn't going to go there. I wanted to help you guys understand a little better what it means to make conscious choices and what all this is about. What is all this confrontation with untruth, with darkness, and with it also the confrontation with our own shadow side all about? Well, in Dr. Faustus, Mephistopheles says, I will the dark, but I create the light. In other words, feel into this. As we are being confronted with lies, with all this temptation into shortcuts, into not looking, into just getting wrapped up in our own fears, getting wrapped up in our own comfort, is an opportunity to find our own light. And I wanted to ask you guys how this is going for you. So here we are, at this auspicious time in March, at the precipice of a new era. And I'm not saying this to rile you guys up and get you all scared. Okay, I'm saying this because it's evident. All right, we're witnessing something that has already influenced our lives here in these past 2 years to a degree that we could never imagine. Just 2 years ago. We are looking at a war scene, at least this is what media is presenting to us, that could potentially cause World War III. We are looking at an imminent collapse, of our economic and financial systems, or restructuring, if you will, the Great Reset agenda that I'm sure many of you, or if not all of you, are already familiar with. So let's just look at this truth and the untruths that come with it and what this does to us. What are your internal processes? How are you digesting all of this, and what is this helping you to see? Maybe also, what is this causing in you? The good, the bad, and the ugly, guys. What is going on inside of you? You as the representation of sovereign soul selves with an awareness that allows you to feel things, to perceive things, perhaps even to trust in things that you have no proof for, that are courageous enough to come out and say, you know what, I don't believe in all this stuff. What is going on inside of you? Give this a voice. Let's help all these people who are questioning themselves, who are doubting future, who have no hope, who have no courage right now. Let's help them by speaking it out loud, what is going on inside of us, yeah, those of us here who have had decades of training to express this. And even though we've had to lurk or hide in the woodwork, okay, we are able to help others by expressing this. What is going on inside of you guys? What do you want others to see? What are you aligning yourself to? Who wants to share? Hi.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Hi, it's been quite a interesting 3 or 4 weeks for me. I'm finding that the adversity is coming out a lot clearer in the unseen and how I've put myself in that, and how now it feels like it's more the outside and not coming necessarily from me. It's more like a trigger. So when
So
I
you've
get
seen
triggered,
something on the outside now that
mm,
was formerly just on the inside. Is that what you're
yeah,
saying? Okay, so
my
like,
traumas coming. It's wanting to just clear. I had a breakdown in the bath on Monday, and then I've just had altercations randomly with people, and it's been interesting to see me being able to walk away and not take it on, whereas before I would be stewing over it, but still like able to talk about it in a healthy way and validating my feelings instead of diminishing them. So that was quite huge. But just the surprise of people being so in denial, and then me looking at my own denial and saying, hey, I need to do something for myself. And it's quite powerful. It's very intimidating, but at the same time, we've been going through it for so long that it's just like, if I let it run through my body, I have a better chance of not only surviving but thriving through the experience. So when I know that I can trust that body, which I haven't been able to before, it allows something much bigger to come in that I'm not fully understanding of yet, but it's coming. And it's
you
coming
mentioned,
from the base. It's not coming from the head.
yes, that's a big one. So there's something that you're feeling inside of you, like a foundation, like you have a foundation for something, something that, like, I've mentioned, you now mentioned or confirmed as well, that's been going on for so long. Yeah. And you've
Yeah,
made it so far. You've made it so far. Even though it can still be surprising when you see other people going through this process, there is something inside of you that tells you, hey,
I've done
this
this
is
before.
nothing. Yes, I've done this, but this is nothing compared
This
to
is
what I've been going
nothing.
through all my life.
Yep, and I'm like, I'm okay. And I'm like, I love everyone, but I just don't like certain people, and I'm okay with it now. And by acknowledging that, I can actually set forward on a different path of helping people by not getting stuck in the ego and rather focusing on what I can bring to the world for myself first and then others. And it's definitely survival skills, and it's definitely not just spiritual, and it's not just earthly. It's in between that people would understand. From that awakening, it would trigger them, hopefully in a positive or negative way, and that's not my prerogative. It's not my control. So I'm feeling stronger in that. I didn't have that until this week.
Yeah, so the illumination is that it's
Yes.
neither only in the earthly or material or only in the spiritual, that it
No,
has to be, I love how you say that, in between. It has
it
to
has to,
have
because they
both.
can't they can't help if we're not in between. They
Yes.
can help us on the others, whatever we believe, which I'm sure is similar. And the universe is only looking for balance at any given
Yeah.
time. That is the core thing that I know. from many of my journeys, and that's what we need to find within ourselves. And once we clicked into that, there's certain things that don't matter that we thought mattered, and then other things, and it just comes, and it becomes soft in so many ways and much harder in other ways, and it's actually more positive than how I thought of it. Isn't
Yeah,
that
there's something
amazing?
there's something with the past, John, right? Where we felt so degraded or diminished or judged, yeah, and where we felt as a victim. Okay, that is dissolving right now. Yeah, we're recognizing how hard it is for people to actually deal with some of these realities.
A
Yeah,
lot of them, and they can't express it, so we
no,
can't judge them and hate them for it because it's unconscious.
yes,
So it's by us keeping our consciousness, this group, growing with our individual and collective conscious, that we now should be able to branch out and find or discern the right way, because we've learned now from all the stuff ups. It's now like we need to do it solidly, by the book almost, but in in the right way, systematically.
it's a beautiful sharing, Sean. Thank you so much. I hear so much in what you just said, becoming the healed and the healing, or the healer at the same time.
Oh, I mean, I had a few breakdowns this week, a total one in a magnesium bath, and I said, you know what? I feel like a loser. I cried and I cried it out, and I thought, it's not the truth. I've overcome so many
Wow.
lessons, the unseen, you see, and I didn't realize that I had accomplished so much of the unseen that I didn't even know until
Yeah.
now, and so my confidence can probably come back. I'm
Sean, let me
serious. This
let
is,
me do a
I
shout
mean,
out for you. Who of you had a breakdown this week? Who of you thought you were a loser? Who of you felt this massive energy, yeah, going through you, like making you doubt yourself to a core?
yep.
Yes, give a thumbs up here. We all felt this way, Sean. All right, I don't know you guys personally here. I don't know what your lives are, but I read out the energies of people. I report about them, and I know that this is part of the experience right now. And what you just said is profound. Yeah.
Oh,
Remember
thank you.
you remembered this inside of you, yeah, that this is not true. Yeah. Yes, we have times where we doubt. Yes, we have times where we feel weak. Yes, we have these times where we question everything. Okay. But that's all here. Yeah.
Mm,
And
mm,
then you take a breath, you do something for yourself, as you said. Yeah. And then we feel it again. We're like, no, no, this is my truth. This is my integrity. This is the spirit that I align myself to. Yeah. And I can feel it. Yeah. And I have the right to be here, and I have the right to be me. And yes, I have something to offer. Yeah, we just never knew what it was that that we can offer, and this is the time for you guys now to
yep.
wake up to this, right? It's your wisdom and your practice that was previously shunned, or you were laughed at maybe for it. Okay, you will now find that this is what people need the most. Okay, so we're really early in the game, all right, and all of you who have been part of any of these groups, it's not a group per se, it's an awareness that brings us together. Yeah, any one of you who has been part of this kind of awareness, all right, is going to feel this. You are going to feel very, very clearly what it is that you are aligning yourself to, and you will comprehend the why. You will know what it is that you're aligning yourself to, because you are able to discern. For most people out there, that is not possible yet. Yeah, because this confrontation with untruth, this confrontation with unfreedom and lovelessness, yeah, is just now begun for them. Like you said, Sean, it was going on unconsciously for them, but now it's becoming aware to them. So in this illumination, unfortunately, is also a lot of struggle. Yeah. Not knowing what to believe in. And this is where your guys' strength comes in. Who else wants to share? Let me hear those voices. Let us all hear those voices. Let us all leave a mark here with our awareness due to the fact that we know what we are aligning ourselves to. What else do you guys feel?
Hi, this is Becky.
Hey, Becky.
I can relate to what Sean was sharing. For me, it feels like an empowerment that's coming through where I have given away my power and a recognition, like more of like an acceptance rather than need to go in and say like, why did the self beat up? It's rather just more of an acceptance. Okay.
Where you've given away your power. So that is a very important part. How do you deal with this, Becky? How do you deal with the awareness that you've given away power?
Well, usually it's more of a self beat up in the past, and it's now changing to see that no, this is what I need to see so I can make a different choice next time.
Nice. And how do you reconcile this within? There is a part in us, right, when we realize that we've given power away or that we have, let's say, bought into things such as victimhood or, powerlessness. Yeah. So buying into powerlessness, that is a spirit that we're aligning ourselves to if we do this. All right. It gives away our power. Yeah. How does one reconcile this? What are your thoughts on this, Becky? How is this? Yeah. Because there immediately comes that need to, you called this acceptance. There's a part in us that needs to grow, that needs to say, all right, I can see that I did this in the past. Now what?
There's just a letting go to allow something new to come in.
Mm-hmm.
There's a
Wonderful.
releasing of all of that. For me, it's been a letting go of the resentments, the bitterness,
Nice.
the revenge, the wanting revenge.
Yes, I love it. That's exactly, yes, be practical. That's exactly, the thoughts that go through our heads when we give our power away, when we feel as victims, right? That keep us kind of going, right?
Yeah.
Those are powers that we have to be very clear about where they're leading us. If we are aligning ourselves to revenge, for example, or I get back at you, right? What is that spirit? What is the resonance that we are aligning ourselves to? That is a very low vibratory energy that we are giving, that we are actually aligning ourselves to at that very moment.
Yeah.
And that needs to be reconciled. That needs to be, reprogrammed.
Mm-hmm.
And acceptance is one of those reprogramming tools. Yeah, where we say, okay, well, that didn't go that well. All I could see was me as a victim and everybody else the bad guys, right?
Yeah.
So that's not a really good approach to life. Okay, I mean it can get me through life, but that's not an energy that can make me, that it can empower me, that can make me excel, right? In order to thrive, in order to create something that brings myself into this world, yeah, in order to co-create, I need to recode this, I need to reprogram this, and that's how we do this. We accept it. We say, oops, now that I can see how I've done this in the past, I realize, that was not exactly the spirit I wanted to align myself to. And now I'm changing this.
Yes.
I love it. Thank you for sharing, Becky. keep going, guys. What are some of the things that are going on inside of you, maybe your head or wherever, where you've learned to reframe it, where you've learned to reprogram yourself, or maybe you're working on it right now, what you have recognized that you need to reframe, that you need to realign?
Hi, it's Annette.
Hi, Annette.
I think for me, it's a lot about not buying into all the fear that's going on.
Yes.
Yeah, I can, yeah, just look at it and see, okay, I don't have to buy into it. I can be at
Fear
peace.
is a
I
big
look
one.
at it and see that the world is going mad again. Yeah.
It's always been mad from our perspective, right? So fear is such an easy distraction. And just so you know, the noise that you hear in the background is rain. Fear is such an easy distraction, and it's so, that's why it's constantly being used as mind control tool, because we can't really do anything about that internal sort of nervous reaction that we have. Yeah. So seeing those pictures, reading those headlines about the Ukraine and, some of these things that are going on about money and so forth, they do trigger fear in us. We can't help it, right? But you just said something extremely powerful, Anita. We can also choose to not buy into it. Well, what does that mean if we don't buy into it? If we choose to not buy into it, what does that mean? Does it mean that we ignore it, that we pretend it's not happening?
No.
What does it mean? How does this feel like?
But for me, it just feels like, okay, now it's repeating again. We just had 2 years of COVID and fear, and then now, okay, once again. Yeah.
The new marketing campaign. A new campaign.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Fear again. Okay. What have we learned in the past? What have we learned in the past through giving our power away to fear? Yeah. Through aligning ourselves to fear. What have we learned through that? What have you learned through this, Annette, in the past? When you give way to fear, what happens to you?
Yeah, you give away yourself.
And how does this play out?
All your thoughts and emotions and are kind of controlled by somebody else.
That and more so, how does this play out in our practical life? What does it do to our life? What does it do to our life force?
It controls or affects our choices, what we choose to do and align to, and yeah,
it drains us of our own individuality, right? It drains us of our own life force, right? To do something, for ourselves, or, whether it be health or wealth or, healing or whatever it is. It makes it impossible for us to muster the energy to do something for ourselves. It makes us sick, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. So what do we do when we realign ourselves in that moment? When we say, oh, fear, yeah, I could go there now. I could allow that to drain my energy. I could allow that to control my choices. But I could also choose to not buy into it. And do what instead? What can we do instead? What are you doing instead? Instead of buying into fear, Annette, what have you learned to do instead?
I choose what is coming from my heart, what I align to. Yeah.
Make a practical example.
Yeah, for instance, what I do in my daily life and what I eat, for instance.
Yes.
Don't buy into junk food because I don't have time or energy, because the energy is consumed by
by the fear. Yes.
and fear. Yeah.
Lovely. So
it's a huge distraction.
it is for everybody. For everybody. That's why it's so important to speak this out loud. Yeah. When we align ourselves to these resonance, such as fear, such as revenge, such as victimhood, such as pain and struggle, such as, apathy, passivity, yeah, such as pride, we are aligning ourselves to darkness. People don't want to hear this, but the reason why this is dark is because it drains us of our energy and distracts us from doing what? Doing the things that would bring more light, right? Healthier diet, healthier emotions, healthier relationships, healthier approach to life. Yeah. These practical things that we often oversee. I have a client, for example, who has been, working for years on aligning ourselves more to the divine. This was her outspoken goal when she started to work with me. And she says, I really, really want to align to this more spiritual life. And I said, wonderful. And we worked on so many different things. And there's obviously a lot of fancy courses and programs and techniques and so forth that I teach. And one day, and I kept on saying to her, you should get a dog. I kept on saying this to her for years. And she got a dog. And then I said to her, getting a dog was the most spiritual thing that you've ever done in your life. And she didn't understand this at first. And then I asked her, what does this little puppy do for you? What does it bring into your life? She didn't have a dog before. Well, she says, I look at him and it just makes me happy. And I walk him and I cook the food for him. And I do all these things for this little puppy that remind me of the love that I can feel inside of me. It makes me feel I'm needed. It makes me feel loved. It makes me go outside more. It makes me think into the future. It makes me feel more expansive. And that's what it is. Yeah. This is what we need to realize, is that it's the simple things in life, that align us to a spirit, if you will, that align us to either the dark part, the shadow part in ourselves, or the light part, which is expansion, which is health, which is beauty, which is abundance. Yeah. How many people do you know in the spiritual scene who say that, the material is all bad, and yet, suffer in their daily lives from, let's say, not having enough money to live in a place where they actually have a garden, where they actually can have pets or flowers or, other things that allow them, to experience what it is that they want or they need for themselves to expand. Yeah, be it traveling or be it, getting massages or, I don't know, eating healthier food. Okay, so if I don't bring these two things together, like Sean said, if I can't find the middle, how can I align myself to, expansion and co-creation and light if I don't have the money, say, to buy or plant or grow or, bring this into my life, like healthy foods and healthy relationships and healthy experiences. Yeah. So we align ourselves to the spirit we comprehend. Now, thanks to your guys' examples, you may understand this in a completely different way. The spirit we comprehend. We become that. Yeah, we do well what we dwell on is more or less the simpler version of the same. We align ourselves to what we give our power to, what we focus on, what we give our energy to. And if we align ourselves to fear, guys, then we aligning ourselves to a spirit. Yeah? Whether you personify this as an entity or not is irrelevant. Yeah? You can call it a energetic frequency, yeah, or a resonance that is contractive, that is life degrading, yeah, and toxic for life. If you are aligning yourselves to forgiveness, acceptance, courage, empathy, healing, compassion, yeah, forgiving yourself, even letting go and detaching, are all higher vibratory resonances that align you to light, that align you to the divine. And I forgot who said this, I think Sean. You brought in nature or the universe. Or Becky, you said that too. Yeah, so we can learn from, yeah, how nature works. Of course, there is a lot of good and bad and ugly in nature. But nature is what provides life. It is innately expansive. It is nurturing. And it aligns us to abundance. That's what nature is. And yes, there can be doubts, there can be droughts, there can be hurricanes, there can be wildfires, there can be extinctions, there can be all kinds of things that create discomfort in us. But anyone who has just a little bit of comprehension, you have understanding of biology and ecosystems, understands that sometimes that is necessary. So we can learn about these spirits that we can align ourselves to, that we can choose to align ourselves to through nature. And there's also something very, very beautiful in nature that has to do with cycles and rhythms. And through that, which most people call spiritual understanding, it really isn't, in my view. But it, not that there's anything wrong with this. You can align yourselves to the spirits of nature. You can align yourselves to the spirits of spring, the spirit of summer, the spirit of, lunar cycles, the spirit of seasons, yeah, the spirits of growth, the spirits of plants and plant medicines, yeah, plant spirits, nature spirits, yeah, the wind, the air, the elementals, animal spirits, all that helps you to align yourself to the divine. And that's what is coming in right now here for the collective. That is what you are picking up on. There is a word for this, stellium, if you guys want to read up on this. Yeah, it has to do with the cycles and the rhythms, the greater cycles and rhythms of life itself, of life force itself. And once you recognize that you have the choice at any given moment, yeah, in the now, as Eckhart Tolle would say, yeah, you realize that you have power. So right now, we all have the power to align ourselves to a new comprehension, to a new understanding of what it means to be human and what it means to live together in societies. And that things such as politics or nationalities have no meaning in the greater stellium of things. Yeah? That it's about freedom, love, and truth. That it's about learning how to actually work with the things that are always there for us, the things that we get distracted from through mind control, propaganda, authoritarianism. Yeah, it distracts us into the lower vibratory perspectives, Yeah, and the reason why this happens to us is because we have them in us. Yeah, but we have the power to change that. And so if you understand really that untruth, trickery, deceit, all these things that are being illuminated right now are essentially Luciferian traits. Yeah, you maybe get a better understanding of what this bigger collective healing process, this bigger collective awakening and illuminating process right now is all about. I want to close here, guys, and thank you for being such a beautiful community. Yes, we are all lurkers. We're doing this on Skype. Yeah, whenever I do this on YouTube, we can't really put a voice to it. So this is why we're still here. Share this link, help people to understand these things. Share my YouTube channel, and of course, experience this for yourselves. This is what we do here at transCODES, providing the inner experience of your higher self, of this higher power. And if you really want to go physical, check out our Iceland retreat called Life Force this year. Yeah, in June on Iceland. Yeah, today ends the early bird ticket option. This is our annual and only physical get-together with me in person, where we can do this in nature, aligning to these beautiful Icelandic forces. Yeah, can't get any more pure than that. Yeah, and obviously something that I am aligned to at birth. Yeah, so let's do this together. I can't wait to see you guys. We will see each other here on Skype again on Friday for the energy update for week 11. And that's going to be a big one. So I'm wishing you guys beautiful days. Yeah, do not buy into fear. That aligns you to your shadow, aligns you, distracts you into powerlessness. Love you guys. Bye-bye.